What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Tuffy Talk live show. Got myself, Blaine Smith, here with Macon Adams, the OGs, once again here running the show, Batman, Robin, whatever you want to call it. So we're excited here today to be talking all things NC State, specifically talking about a few specific topics that are definitely discussed within the World Wide Web these days. But with that being said, if you've been with us for, you know the drill, but any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the chat and we will get to them here today. But first, starting off here, so you might have got a sneak peek of it right there at the beginning, but I want to start off with this tweet right here, making first and foremost here, showing the People's Champs shirt from the Pac-13 game, in honor of the College World Series going on right now 4 years ago. NC State was downright robbed. And even after pulling off what many would say one of the greatest losses in college baseball history, where even with only 13 not hand selected, but basically what you were left with, guys, they still were only one swing of the bat away, one run away from beating one of the top teams in the country in Vanderbilt. And I still like to this day, like go through my head being like, what the heck would the NCAA have done if NC State would have beaten Vanderbilt in that game? Like, would the winner of the Mississippi State part of the bracket be the national champion? Like, how would that have worked? Like, I mean, I would assume not, because that's it kind of takes away. Well, that definitely takes away a lot of revenue. You know what I mean? Like, because basically that takes away the super regional part of the College World Series bracket. So, how would they have handled that? But, luckily enough for the NCAA, they, didn't have to figure that out, being that, we still unfortunately lost that game. But again, man, it's just like, I can't imagine, honestly, watching that game back and thinking about what's going through my head. And because I mean, there's just so many emotions that would be going through, I feel like, my head watching that game. Obviously, just how proud I would be in terms of how those guys played their asses off that entire game. But also too were willing to play, because that was one thing that still stands out to me from that game. I still remind people, and the fact they even asked them, like, guys, like, we don't have to play this game. We can forfeit this game. Wait till wait 2 days, see what players we get back, and then we'll do it all together in a one game takes all match. But the guy was like, no, like, we still want to play this game. And man, again, I think the bases were loaded. And I can't remember who was up to bat. Our right fielder, I'm totally blanking on his name right now, but anyway,
Torres knows one.
Made a couple of big catches.
Was first base. I don't remember, honestly.
Anyway, but yeah, so we had an opportunity to win that game and just unfortunately couldn't quite get it done. But I mean, it's going to be a game which I'll remember forever. Now, I mean, the one thing which I do want to ask you, Macon, is being so basketball focused for you, for sure. I did want to ask you one question I thought was very interesting, is that if you were to compare the ACC championship Final Four run to this scenario, to this moment, not only just the game, but like getting bounced at 2 a.m. in the morning, like there's obviously two different things. One was remembering a memory out of how amazing it was. One was just how insane unique it was. How do you kind of compare those two moments in terms of how memorable they will be to you 50 years from now?
Yeah, so I think well, first off, it's good to be back on the show. I haven't been here in a few weeks, so I'm glad to be back. Been traveling a little bit lately, and but so I think you usually remember the I don't know, I would say you usually remember the highs more, you remember the lows. But like, for instance, like Kyle Bambard missing that kick will never go away against Clemson. Like, as an example, like, it's just you'll never forget that. But I think the Final Four run is going to be more memorable if I had to pick one, and not because we did well, but it was because how unpredictable it was. Like that's why I think it will stand out more. It was just crazy. It required this insane, miraculous shot from Michael O'Connell to beat UVA. The guy had to miss the free throw for that to even really be an opportunity in the first place. And they went around like the performance from Michael O'Connell, Mo Diarra, like those guys, like where did that even come from? And then they went on a run and they beat Duke twice. And they not even at home, they beat them on the neutral court. They beat them twice. They beat UNC for the championship game in the AC tournament. I mean, I don't know. There's so many things that had to go there. They beat a good Marquette team. I think that will be more memorable. But having said that, I saw a tweet, and it's not the one you shared, Leighton, but it was college sports only. It's at college sports O on the Twitter or X handle. It basically said like I think the 2021 NC State College World Series team will be the biggest what if in college baseball ever. And just reminding everybody again, like we had beaten Arkansas in their regional, who was I think number one, if not one of the top seeds in the country.
They were number one.
Number one, right? Okay. We then went to Louisiana Tech and won the Ruston regional there to go to Omaha.
Opposite. But yeah, we went to Louisiana Tech first and then went to Arkansas.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Louisiana Tech and Arkansas. We were 2-0 in Omaha, and then they were in the semis, and before they came down with COVID and had to forfeit. Like that's basically repeating that tweet. I remember waking up being like livid, infuriated about that. Like, what? How the heck? And you could make it political if you really wanted to, which I think there may. But I mean, they had to do the athletic department felt they had to do as best. I still think it was a little silly, a little stupid, but I think there's taking that away from the team is going to be one of those bittersweet things the whole time, because the way they came back and the fans fill out the baseball stadium to welcome them home. I really think, and everybody thinks that NC State team was going to win the College World Series that year if they had let them play. And I was proud of them because they had a 13-man roster that one game. Like, that for a little bit was Pac 13. So I think that 2021 series, honestly, kind of coinciding a little bit with the missed Vanguard kick, are two of the most gut-wrenching things that I will never probably forget. But the Final Four run, how insanely unpredictable that was, is bigger in my opinion. So,
absolutely.
So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah, and by the way, the person we were thinking of was Devontae Brown. By the way, so that's what it was. But anyway, so Michelle saying good, marvelous, and stormy Monday, Wolfpack Nation. Yes, definitely. I hope everybody's staying out of those rough storms going around the Triangle area right now. And what's up, Benjamin, as well. Glad you're able to make it. But so let us know in the chat, y'all. What would you? Which period would you say in your head is going to be more memorable 30, 40 years from now? The ACC basketball Final Four run or the 2021 College World Series snub? And because one thing which I want to add as a reminder as well to you, making as well, is I think that one of the biggest things that also helped gain a lot of publicity and focus for NC State was also how Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, even before that whole screw job, became a diehard NC State fan, through that, and had money on NC State to win the whole thing, and and he came out the next day with that famous video saying Wolfpack are getting blanked right now, and
right.
and that 3-second clip, like kind of summarizes it all. But again, I think it's still, to me, it was one of the craziest times. But also too, as well, that still one thing I think about as well is thank goodness that at least for me, I feel for all the NC State fans that made the trip out there, to Omaha to receive that news. But also too, as well, it's so 6 of 1 is also too. I think about also too the San Diego bowl game as well, like all the people that flew out to
UCLA
that game,
yep,
UCLA game, like it's kind of crazy to think
10-win
about. Like
season that could have been wasn't
10
ended up
win.
happening. Yeah,
Exactly. Like, man, just so many moments that come to head here. But so I do want to obviously too as well. Obviously, this is a day after Father's Day, so I want to wish all the in-state dads out there who are listening or watching happy belated Father's Day for sure. And specifically one tweet in particular that I really got a lot of enjoyment out of, which is this tweet by typical NC State fan saying "Happy Father's Day" #UNC football, and there's a screenshot of the last four years in the NC State versus UNC rivalry, and the fact that we've won all four straight. And Anthony Belton, former NC State offensive tackle and current Green Bay Packers offensive tackle, quote tweeting that tweet and saying 4-0. So, happy Father's Day to UNC. Happy Father's Day to Dave Dorn on behalf of UNC as well. So definitely got a lot of kicks and giggles out of that.
yep.
But anywho, though, so let's really get to I think obviously what we put in the title and something that's been talked about a ton, and that's particularly some words that were shared by head basketball coach Will Wade at the Will Wade event at Tobacco Road in downtown Raleigh. And so once I get this pulled up here, I am struggling to get StreamYard to work with me here. Anywho, here, let's start off with this actually, before we get into it. So, staying in the men's basketball world, real quick, but I figured you'd appreciate this. But this video here, 100% effort here. I mean, honestly though, like as much as I love that play, once again, I just still see Darian Williams right there popping into the screen wearing NC State, gear. I'm like, man, like that is the coolest thing. Like seeing Trey Holloman, seeing Jerry Dang, seeing Ven-Allen, Lubin, seeing Darian Williams, all in-state stuff. Like, I don't know, man. It's just it's like a pinch me moment. Like, man, like this is real life. Is this real life?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I know they had like you said, the event there in Raleigh this past weekend. And
yeah, which we'll get the video
first
of here in 1
time,
second.
right? It was the first time the fans really got to see the whole team, and I'm sure that was like wow, this is crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure this is the first time in years, and I don't know when the last night was, that the entire starting five is completely different for NC State. And I don't know that that's happened in 20 years or more. I don't think it hasn't. When Mark Goffrey made the switch to Kevin Keats, that didn't change.
Mm-hmm.
Going back from Sidney Lowe to Mark Gottfried, Herb Sindick to Sidney Lowe. Like I don't remember that ever happening. It's been a long time. So this is a big offseason, but it is cool seeing all those guys together. Like it's just pretty crazy the depth this roster has and the options you can have in your starting lineup, the rotations you could do. It'll be interesting to see. You're probably not going to be playing 10 guys on the team, but some of these guys are going to probably get left out. But the fact that you're even doing that is crazy. I know they had some stuff about Mount Abel a few days ago. He was like doing this player of the week thing, and he ended up winning that from like not only playing in practice, but also being on time and nutrition and those kinds of things, workouts. So combining all that, like the overall player development for that week, he was good. And as a freshman doing that, you get caught up in the Darian Williams is in the world, and you get caught up in Ven-Allen Lubin coming from UNC, and Trey Holloman from a 2-seed Michigan State, and Terrence Arsenault from a 3-seed Houston. Like he's a 5-star guy. Like, is this the first 5-star and I know it is in my lifetime that I think that I can think of where a player is a 5-star and we are looking him over kind of thing. Like we're not like, oh, this guy's starting. Like that's how good State's lineup is right now.
Yeah.
And maybe he could still be the starting shooting guard. Like I just don't know. Like it's
sure.
We thought it could be Alan Reed, it could be Paul McNeil, it could be Matt Abel, it could be something different that we're just not even thinking of right now. And that's
Yeah.
That's exciting to me. But they got some
Yeah.
time, and I know there's still Paul and Bai's not on campus yet, and so we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
But there's just a lot of depth on the team, and it's exciting.
Yep. Well, and I mean, and with Matthew Abel, I mean, it's pretty much public knowledge that he's been very impressive in camp for sure. Obviously winning that Player of the Week award, which is like a analytical point system award that he won. I mean, definitely stands. Also, too, watching his highlight tapes, it's like, man. He's gonna be involved for sure in the rotation for sure. But obviously with a guy like, for example, like Terrence Arsenault, who could kind of slot in potentially as that too. We'll see kind of how he fits into the rotation, but he's going to have minutes and he's going to have all the opportunities in the world. But just like you were saying, Macon, is like, with Matthew Abel being the highest commitment that NC State's gotten since Dennis Smith Jr., it is kind of crazy again with how the world we live in from a NC State perspective, but also too from a college basketball, college sports perspective, in the fact that when Dennis Smith committed to NC State, it was like, this is the guy that's going to single-handedly like drive us and carry us to victory, to greatness, right? But now, just like you were saying with Matthew Abel, is like, he's good enough and he's just as highly rated that if this was 2013 or sorry 2014 15 whatever, that we'd be looking at a Matthew Abel the same exact way. But with NC State basketball basically committing, and sorry, NC State fans and NC State basketball committing to take that next step, and with the way that college sports is now, with the transfer portal, with NIL, things like that, like now Matthew Abel's coming in, and you're looking at him as more than likely a very great rotation piece. That also too is a guy that Will Wade can develop and his staff can develop into being a star, for next year, ideally.
Yeah.
So that but also too, like what world, there's no chance that a guy like Matthew Abel 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago would have even considered staying a second year, which I'm not saying for sure. I know he is interested in staying a second year.
You can't count on that. Yeah, you can't
count on that.
Right.
But you can more likely take a solid guess that he's probably going to be in college, a second year, more than likely, unless Matthew Abel has an amazing, ridiculous year this year, which
if he does, I think it's a good sign for State.
It's a good thing. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think State is, let me put it this way. Whoever it is with this roster lineup, in England roster, the cream's going to rise to the top. Right? It's going to. If it's whoever it's going to be, and it'll figure itself out. I'm not worried about that. But if it is Abel, if it's McNeil, heck, nobody's talking about McNeil. Maybe it's not him. Maybe it's Breed. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not him. I don't know. I think this team could go big. They have big lineups they can do. They can have small lineups they can do. They're going to have offensive and defensive schemes in certain situations where they're going to get their best offensive players on the court, and then but be really defensive. And a lot of things I'm reading is the defensive identity of this team's going to be pretty strong. That's going to be their foundation. Which, kind of like in football, we talk about defense travels. Like, this to me is going to be a good thing for State. Any team who really wants to win and have a high floor as far as their potential. But we just don't know. Like, who's to say Paul and Bai couldn't come in and be big or not, or who Jerry Dang, like, we talk about him being a more of a shooter at the stretch 4 position, but why couldn't he be a guy you play at the 5 if you need to? And there's guys like Terrence Arsenault. Does he have to play the 3? Could he play a little bit of the 2? Could he play a little bit of the 4? I don't. I really don't know. I think there's a lot of options this team's going to have, and I think to Carson's point also is the staff's really made a good roster, built it well, and kind of moneyballed this team, in my opinion, which I love that. And Will Wade, Coach Slater, the whole assistant coaching staff. I say Coach Slater, but it's Andrew Slater, just the GM. Like, they've done this well, and Andrew Slater's done it before with the Thunder. And the NBA team, that is in the finals.
Yep.
That's just that is this whole off season feels like a dream in terms of like I can't believe all these things are happening. So it's exciting.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah, no, and I mean, and also, but also too, I mean, I think to Benjamin's point, talking about Colt Langdon, I mean, Colt is 100% a guy that I think that you know, he's kind of like, you know, a long shot bet where it's like, you know, a guy that you're not putting a lot of stock in, a guy that could definitely develop into something, you know, you know, homebred guy that, you know, came out of high school, you know, 4-star guy. So a solid, you know, prospect to, you know, see what the staff can do, and if he can develop into a solid piece that you know, the team can invest in for next year's team, great. And also too, if we ever get in foul, you know, extreme foul trouble or more of injury concerns, then, you know, there is a chance for sure he could find his way into rotation. But he's a guy I'm expecting more likely making that you're not going to really see much more than garbage time minutes for him this season. Would you agree with that, Megan?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect him to play. I mean, like we talked about. So you got the one. You know, Trey Holloman's going to play the one. Starting out there, maybe Quadir. I got to get that name right now. It's Quadir.
Yeah,
He's going to be playing the 1, 2, 3, 4. Who knows? But he's playing. Those two guys are playing. You got the 2. I don't know. I think that might be the shooting guard position might be the biggest what if right now. I don't even want to know who that is. Let's just say 2 of those 3 guys are playing.
Sure.
You've got a majority of the minutes. You've got the 3. I would bet Arsenault's playing starting at the 3, but I have no idea. Could Quadir Copeland be starting at the 3? Maybe. But sounds like Arsenault has a better defensive.
Well, yeah. I would be shocked if Arsenault wasn't starting. Arsenault's got to be starting.
But I'm already at 5 guys right there, right? I haven't even really got the forward positions. Although the 3 is, I guess, a small forward, but it's more of a wing kind of good player. You got the 4.
Alan Breed as well. I mean,
right.
As well.
Yes, that Breed, Abel, and McNeil are playing the 2. I would say 2 out of 3 of those guys are playing significant minutes. But then at the 4, you got Jerry Dang. Could you play Ven-Allen, Lubin, and Paul Mbaye in the front court at the same time? Maybe. Do you? Maybe. I mean, technically, Mbaye's not even on the team yet. He's not here yet. So could it be Ven-Allen, Lubin at the 5, and Jerry Dang at the 4? You play Quadir Copeland at the 4. Like I've already mentioned 8 guys there. Could Colt Layton play? Sure. Could Michael Wilkins play? Sure. I just don't think you're going to do like a 10-man rotation. You might. I really just don't know. I really should go back and look to see the usage of players in Will Wade's teams before, like who played predominant, you know, usage points, I guess, if you will, to see how many players he usually uses in a rotation. But I think Zamichael Wilkins, you know, Jamie from Finland. You've got, I think Colt Langdon's also probably on the outside looking in.
Definitely. No, he's going to really have. He's going to have to really impress.
If he's the 10th, 11th player, he's probably not playing as much. He might they won't want to know what they've got with him, and they'll play him some. But I wouldn't expect Colt Langdon to play. Now, having said that, do I like what I see out of Colt Langdon's stuff he played out of high school? Because really not a whole lot from him from Butler. Yeah, I mean, local guy. I think there's some Raleigh RDU culture there that you want to have on your team as well. So, I mean, glad he's here. I think he's going to have some game where he kind of goes off, and the fans and the players are just going to lose their mind and love it.
Sure.
So, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah. And I mean, just like Chilton says right here, I mean, so many good options. I like this problem. It's a you know, it's a problem that, you know, is so good, especially too, because again, like this is, you know, like, and we've talked about, you know, Greg and I talked about this 2 weeks ago, making is that like, this is a team that probably has one of the highest floors that an in-state basketball team has had in a long time. I mean, I can't even think of a team that I am so sure that a floor is so high. You know what I mean? Like, Like there's just no way, just because of how talented and how experienced and how senior led this team is going to be. That this team, as long as they stay healthy, they're going to be a top half, top third AC basketball team, and I feel no issues, or concerns about that statement. So,
right.
So, all right, so let's jump into finally, now that StreamYard has let me do what I want to do here. Let's jump into the video clip that all social media is talking about right now. So, if the audio doesn't work, is it working? We're going to play him, so he's going to average 15 we're excited about Ven.
Yeah.
So just to kind of quote it once again for those, so Ven-Allen Lubin is somebody the other school was too dumb to not play. When he plays 28 minutes plus per game, he's done that in 23 games. He averages 15-8. I don't know why the hell they didn't play him, but we're going to play him. So he's going to average 15-8. We're excited about Ven. So, Macon, what's your initial thoughts? And let us know in the comments too. What's y'all's thoughts on these comments? But Macon, what do you think about these comments?
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
I love it.
Like, to me, so here's my thought when I heard that. Like, he is taking a shot at UNC. But he's not saying their program sucks. Like, we're better than UNC. He's not saying that. He's saying that, like,
he's basically saying,
this guy was really good and you didn't play him like you should have.
Like, Hubert, what are you thinking?
The math isn't mathing why you did use him this way to this degree. UNC wasn't a bad team last year. They just weren't really a great team. And
no, they weren't a great
team. Could they have been better if they played him more? Like, probably. He's one of the best players towards the end of the season for sure. A lot of UC players were mad that he left. So I kind of think this is people. I've seen people retweeting it, trying to make something out of it than more than actually is. I don't think it's anything. I think it's Will Wade just being Will Wade, having fun with it. And honestly, the thing I was thinking about was, I think Will Wade's personality has been so endearing to media, whether it's local or national media. Everybody seems to love him, and it's because he's so free with it and fun with it. He's not a jerk. He's just a dude. To me, he's a really smart basketball coaching guy, but he's a dude. Like, he's a guy. He'll cut up and joke around, and he'll kind of make cracks at other folks and pick on people. Like, that's who he is. Like, the closest thing, honestly, that I can think of, I don't remember since then, like, he made those kind of comments. It might be Jimmy V, like, who's just so endearing to the media. Like, people love Jimmy V's personality. People really seem to love Will Wade's personality. I have not seen people be like, I hate this guy, how he treats everybody in the media. And like, you're entertained by him. You enjoy him, listening to him talk, even though it's like, he's talking to me the same way as I, as a fan, or somebody as a fan, will be talking about, like, what the heck were y'all doing? Why aren't you playing anymore? Like it's fun. It's not like, oh, well, I'm the coach and I'm going to talk super coach-like and be all polished up. Like, no, like, he's just normal dude. Like, but he happens to be a basketball coach and really good at it. And kind of wears his thoughts on his sleeve, his emotions on his sleeve, and I love that. I think he's just a really genuine person. Maybe it's a good way to put it. I think he's genuine. Like, he's just who he is, and he's fun with it. And yeah, he's picking on UNC, his rival, for whatever the reason they didn't play Ven-Allen Lubin. But, like, who cares? So, like, I think it's great. I think it's fun for a rivalry. I think it's good fun for sports. Like, he didn't say anything so detrimental to UNC. And I bet you there's a lot of UNC fans are wondering, you know what? I kind of wish we played him more. So I don't really think it's really anything.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely 100% a focused shot at Hubert Davis, being like, like what were you thinking, basically, like why did you not play him? But I mean, here's my thing, and here's why I love it, is because honestly, I think so let's put it like this. One of the greatest kind of over dramatic comments, and probably, one of the most over dramatic comments I can think of, where a humongous receipt was made that somebody else had to cash. First thing that comes to mind is the Ball brothers, with there's their father LeVar Ball saying, oh, Lonzo is going to be better than LeBron James, and then LaMelo is going to be a superstar, all-star, like one of the greatest players, and blah blah blah. And I mean, probably one of the biggest things that kind of came back from that is like, listen, like, LeVar, like, this is great, but like, you are making receipts that your sons are going to have to cash. Like, the players are going to come after them because of the receipts you're saying. And so, like, it's like, listen, like, don't make receipts that somebody else has to cash for you. So immediately you may say, well, Leighton, like this is a receipt that Ven-Allen Lubin is going to have to cash. Well, yes, but it's also too with a very low floor, and like it's not asking for much. Also, all basically Wilbur is saying is like, listen, Ven-Allen Lubin, if you play him, he is a great role player.
Just
like,
play him.
He's not a super, like he said this guy will average 15-8. Like, I don't know about you, Macon, but 15-8 is not like one
it's
of
really
the,
good.
Like,
It's not blow your
stuff.
mind, right? Yeah, it's
Exactly.
really good. It's not blow your mind though.
Exactly. And so it's like listen, like, basically all he's saying is like, Vin, like you are going to play great next year. But also too, as well, keep in mind as well, again, this is a guy that's going into the last year of his eligibility. Like I guarantee you he has that same expectation for himself. Like, it's not like he's like, oh, okay, coach, like, man, 15-8, like, I don't know, like, like, no, like, he's like, oh yeah, coach, yeah, we got that. That's light work. So that's the thing that bugs my mind the most about is it's not like he went out there and saying like, oh, Ven's going to be like the best center in the state of North Carolina, like AK, like saying he's going to be better than the Arizona transfer. Like, he didn't say that. All he's literally saying is like UNC, like, you literally had a great role player on your team last year, and you didn't play him. Like,
and he's kind of talking about the past too. Like, you had this guy on your team at the point, and now you I don't get it, but we're going to use him this way. So
exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly like it, to me, it's much worse than than in my opinion.
Again,
but again, it's media, it's social media, like, but also too, because here's the other thing as well, is this is really, at least from what I've seen, making the first real shot Wade has actually made at UNC. Like, only thing I can really remember is in his opening press conference when he started to say North Carolina State, and he was like, oh, sorry, NC State. I've been told not to say North Carolina State. But like, that's not even a shot. That's just like him correcting himself because of not saying that, because it can be constricted as you're saying UNC, but literally, I mean, like, and I think you and me both, making as well, we're like hoping and praying that he would make some kind of a shot at Carolina just to stir the pot a little bit.
It's fun. Like, if but the only thing is you don't want bulletin board material, but that's not really bulletin board material. No. Like, who's going to put on the bulletin board of UNC? This guy talked junk about us because we didn't use this player the right way last year. Like, nobody's going to do that. It's just like, it's stupid. Like, and now he called our coach stupid. Like, we're going to kick his butt. Like, no one's going to do that. So
exactly. Like relax, man. Like, if this is locker room, like, pinning on the board material, then man, UNC is, they're not looking at the bigger picture here, really, what they really need to focus on for this upcoming season. So, but with that being said, though, it is kind of funny to me, because I'm sure, making you and I have seen a ton of social media just absolutely tearing Ven-Allen Lubin a new one for transferring from Carolina directly to NC State, which I found very fascinating for the fact that, and you actually just sent this tweet in a text message here, but I mean, UNC baseball just got a transfer from Duke named Macon Winslow, a transfer catcher, directly from Duke to Carolina. So, I mean, I'm really going to look at these comments here and see, like, do these UNC fans say, man, like, how dare he transfer from Duke to
First off,
Carolina? Like, that is, yeah. See, look at that. Is he a traitor as well? And Christmas saying, we're all laughing. It's baseball. Who really cares? Like, I'm just saying. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Jeff Hubbard. I hate this. There we go. Okay. See, that's how most UNC fans should react if we're gonna, keep it consistent here, folks. So, oh, see, and then see, you got the, yeah, you got some bad language right there, but anywho, so I just found that very ironic, being like, like, I'm sure that the UNC fans like, what? They went to NC State. How dare he to, oh my God, making Winslow, not making Adams. Like,
there should be no other Macon. Man. There's so
I know, man. Come on.
I was like more shocked there was somebody else named Macon. So
right. What especially too, because again, I mean, like, it's so. I mean, again, like, we're not talking like it'd be one thing, if we're talking about like a rivalry where a guy transferred to a rival school, but maybe like that rival school is in a different tier for that sport. Like, like they transfer to a rival school, but by transferring to their rival school, they are now competing on a much better team. And even though, UNC baseball as of right now, I would still have a slightly higher tier than Duke baseball. I mean, Duke baseball has been no slouch whatsoever. I mean, again, they just made it to the super regional. They lost to Murray State, which was pretty bad, especially with how Murray State has played in the World Series. But that's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, I mean, Duke is a very, very good college baseball program. So it's fascinating to me that he would transfer. Now, I mean, again, there's a whole lot of that he would transfer to UNC. Now, there's obviously a whole lot of variables that go into that, including playing time, whatever, NIL, etc. So, but again, like honestly, my biggest thing of this making was just like, all right, like, here's a direct example for UNC fans that were all hating on Ven-Allen Lubin for transferring to NC State. Like, are these going to be the same fans that hate on Macon Winslow for transferring from Duke directly to Carolina?
I think it really is just, I think the difference is that we're talking about men's basketball in Tobacco Road, and this is one of UNC's best players.
That's fair.
It's magnified that way. You probably ask majority of any Duke or Carolina fan who the heck is Macon Winslow, and they're not going to know. So
exactly,
this is different. So
sure. Now, I'm sure Maggie, you probably seen this as well, but 2027 class class 2027 5-star recruit Josh Leonard visited NC State yesterday, and rocking the NC State uni right there. So
they've made lately in the last week or two, they've extended a lot of offers to guys who are in the 2026 class, it looks like, as well. I just saw that they offered a guy. Let's see, where was it at? He was a 27 guy, or I think he's 26. His name's Ryan Hampton, 5-star shooting guard. But the fact that they're getting these guys, some of these guys are early on campus for unofficial visits. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. In high school recruiting, it's not what it was because the transfer portal has so much proven talent in college, and older, more experienced there, that you're going to probably take that over the high school player. But if you can get some of these elite 5-star guys, maybe some 4-stars if you really wanted to, you take 2 to 3 guys in a class, depending on the talent you want to bring in. Like, that's a big deal too. Like, we talked about Matt Abel earlier. He was the lone 5-star coming in this class. I mean, Michael Wilkins was a 4-star guy, too, and he was North Carolina Mr. Basketball.
Yep.
Michael Wilkins probably isn't going to play a whole lot. And Matt Abel, though he's a 5-star guy, he could still be the starter. We just don't know yet. And that talent, if you can find ways to get 5-star talent like Josh Leonard in a couple of years, like, that's down the road. But that's going to be a big deal. I really think how this season goes, it's going to be like fireworks coming off here in a little while, because it's going to have a lot of these guys like wanting to buy stock in NC State and be a part of Will Wade's staff, because Will Wade is exciting, I think, to players and to fans. So
Jerry's saying, did I miss Darian Williams not being mentioned in possible basketball lineups?
Oh,
we've talked about from 20 minutes ago. I don't know if we mentioned him or not.
I actually did not say his name because I was thinking about
Yeah.
other guys. But yeah, it's just, you know, you can have so many guys. Dane Williams, Mbaya, Ven-Allen, Lubin, Langdon. We talked about him. We talked about Michael Wilkins. Quadir Copeland could play the 4, possibly. My point is, saw that and then it came up about Colt Langdon being overlooked, possibly. And I think he to some degree, yes, but also within reason, right? Because he's probably not playing over Darian Williams, Paul Mbaya, Ven-Allen, Lubin, Jerry Dank.
Well, when you say playing, what do you mean? Like starting over him?
He's probably not getting the preference of. He's not probably getting a lot of playing time. Like, right? They're not going to be like, you know what, you're going to get 15 minutes a night. Like, they're not going to do that for Colt Langdon. Probably.
No,
he might get 5. So
no, Darian Williams is playing as many minutes as he humanly can. If he can play all 40 minutes,
he's 100% playing. Yeah.
Yes. No, he's 100% playing, and you're 100% using the heck out of him as much as you need to. So
he's maybe the best player in college basketball. Who knows? So.
I mean, definitely in the ACC, in my opinion, for sure, coming into this year. So, you know, to be determined.
Maybe nationally, who knows? So
yeah. No, but honestly, Jerry, like, if we didn't mention him, it was not because, like, you know, if any disrespect,
was not intentionally,
no, it was literally just like a given. Like, yes, like he's starting, you know, and so it's just what other 4 players in the court are you putting with Darian Williams? That's all you're doing.
I think just the chemistry of how State wants to attack teams. Like, is it possible that their starting lineup is different depending on who they're matched up with? I don't know if that's the case, but I think how they could approach some things in the middle of a game will be interesting. So could you go big? Could you have Darian Williams playing 3, Arsenault playing the 2, and you got Ven-Allen, Lubin, and Paul Mbaya on the court, or Jerry Dang and Ven-Allen, Lubin on the court with Darian Williams? I think that's very possible. I just don't. I don't know. Like, they have a defensive team with Quadir Copeland, Terrence Arsenault. You know, I don't know who the other defensive guys would be beyond that. But my point is, could you do that? Could you defensive lineup? Yeah, you could. It'll be fun. But Darian Williams is 100% playing, and they're going to run their offense through Darian Williams. So,
absolutely. And it's going to be quite the show. So make sure, again, if you just a reminder, Wolfpack Nation, again, Will Wade asked us to get it done. And I think with this roster, it would have happened even if he didn't say anything. But let's make sure to sell out that first game, y'all. But I think that he didn't even need to ask that. Like, you know, with this lineup, like, you know, it's every NC State fan is going to want to be there in person and see this thing happen in person. So, but I did want to remind everybody, though, you know, that again, it's crazy to think about, but we are, you know, making about, you know, 2.5 months away from a football season starting. You know, we're about 10 weeks away from football getting started, and you know, again, like it's a crazy feeling right now talking about that season because, you know, honestly, to me, in my opinion, making it could go. Like there is basically a huge gap of how this season could go. You could, like I totally see going 4-8. I totally could see 8-4, 9-3. I totally could see that. It just, in my opinion, really comes down to how does this defense, you know, play out. Which again, with a new defensive coordinator, a lot of new guys on the defensive side, you know, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But also too, as well, can CJ Bailey stay healthy? That's really, like, in my opinion, the 2 biggest factors. If CJ Bailey can stay healthy, and if your defense, you know, gives you top half of the ACC, you know, like in terms of, like, if you're one of the better defenses in the ACC, then like you're in really great shape. But I'm just, unfortunately, you know, from the transfers that we've got in compared to the fact that we really haven't heard anything from NC State football since the season ended, I have no clue, honestly. I really don't. I think the offense, you know, will be able to produce, but will they have to produce to the point of having to score 40 points a game to win? That's really kind of my question, which, you know, I can't necessarily, you know, there's a reason why, as great as Lane Kiffin is, that there's a reason why he, you know, hasn't won it all yet. And I think it's because, I mean, he's so like, he puts all his stock on the offensive side. Like, you got to be a balanced team to an extent. So that's kind of my biggest thing here. So,
right.
I mean, what's your thoughts on season again, being 10 weeks out, making from in-state football again underway
Yeah, I'm
here?
trying looking over, and I haven't done this yet, but maybe I'll kind of give my quick thoughts. Like, I'm looking ECU. I know we lost, should have won that game, so I'm going to say that's a win because was looking up at American Athletic Football Conferences. They're not one of the best teams in their league. Looks like preseason, but they're they're a decent team. I think they should win that game. They should be beating. They should beat Virginia at home, in my opinion, as well. Wake Forest on the road, they should win that game. You should be 3-0. I think the way things have, I mean, at Duke, maybe it's a loss.
There's a lot.
Virginia Tech, you should be winning that game. Campbell, you're going to win that game. So you're left 5-1 there. At Notre Dame, that's a loss. At Pitt, that'll probably be a big litmus test for the team there at Pitt. In my opinion, also at Duke probably, but let's say at Pitt, I don't know where I don't know if they got how much they have coming back right now.
Not much. Yeah, I mean, they'll probably be a middle to below half AC team if I were to project them out right now.
Yeah, so let's say it's a win at Pitt. So you are now like, I think, what, 6-2. 6-2. Georgia Tech at home. Georgia Tech has gotten better.
They got their quarterback coming back.
Yep. So that at Miami, they don't have Cam Ward there, but that may be a loss. It's on the road at Miami.
We got Carson back.
Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot he's going there. No. Then Florida State at home, that should be a win. And then UNC, we haven't lost to UNC in a while. I'm going to keep saying that's a win until we see something otherwise. You're looking like an 8-4 season, 9-3. Yep. We saying lost. The really quick review: a loss is being Miami, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and Duke. So 8-4. Is that an acceptable season? I think it's a good season. Sure. I think it's better than it was last year for sure.
I think it's enough for sure in the fact that, listen, I mean, you just went 6-7. Like, just move in the right direction. Like, beat ECU, beat Carolina, and go 7-5, 8-4, and I think Dorn can stick around. But
and honestly, it could be that we beat one of those teams, those 4 teams that I had us being a loss at, and then we lose to somebody like Pitt. Like, I have no idea. It could, or Virginia Tech at home. Like, I have no idea. But I think 8-4 is the reason. A big picture, I'm just kind of getting tired of mediocrity, and I'm kind of the point personally when I'm willing to kind of move on if that is where our athletic department wants to go. But if Doran can somehow figure it out and get back on track, great. Like, it was not a great season last year.
No.
So, and I think we all had this sour taste in our mouth after losing the way we did against ECU. I don't even know if it was necessarily losing to ECU. It was just the way we lost ECU. So I think we find, could we go 4-8? Man, I'm looking at that. Is there a team that you're just like, could we lose to ECU? I guess. We're not losing to Campbell, but I don't know if we're losing to Florida State right now, which is crazy.
I mean, let's put it this way, Macon. Like, here's where I really – well, here's where I stand. I mean, because again, and all this being said, Macon, we have no idea how the defense is going to look. We don't have a clue. We really don't have an idea. Like, I mean,
they're bringing in so many defense. I know that's one thing they're bringing in so many defensive, like, pass rusher guys.
Right. And, I mean, you're losing your 2 cornerbacks, from last year. Like, defensive tackle, like, besides Brandon Cleveland, like, what do you really have? Like,
it sounds like Chaz Wall. I think it's Chaz Wallace from Colorado has looked good. Maybe I read somewhere. You've got a defensive tackle. I'm blanking. Cleveland being there. You don't have a lot of guys. You brought in some pass. That's why I think they brought in pass rushers, because I think in the spring they probably realized we need to get better there. But I don't know. And it'd be a new coordinator,
Isaiah
right?
Shirley.
Too.
Isaiah Shirley is a guy that's probably going to take a step forward and be, all
You're
ACC
going back to the
contender.
4-3, right? They're going back to 4-3, I think. Yeah. So I have no idea. And even on offense, like Kurt Roper being the coordinator there, like, it could be. I just think talent-wise and what have you done for me lately kind of projections, I think State could be about an 8-4 team, but I don't know. I just feels like it's the same thing, rinse and repeat for NC State. So
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's just if he goes 8-4, like he's 100% staying. There's no question about it whatsoever.
right.
He is 100% staying because you're not getting
Right.
rid of a coach that, over the last 6, 7 years has the second most ACC wins, over the last 6 or 7 years. If he goes 8-4, but if he goes 6-6 or worse, and I'm making very clear as making as well. And I'm saying this, but just being 100% realistic. If you lose to ECU, well,
it's bad. It's
basketball
bad.
season. Basketball season. No, the season's over. If you lose to ECU, season's done. You cannot lose to ECU in back-to-back games and expect any fan to
care
or put any stock into the rest of the season. Doesn't matter. There's no way you can lose at your house after you've had a whole offseason to prepare for ECU.
The same team you just played last time. Yeah.
Right. There's no excuse for that. You must beat ECU. Period. Like there's been many times where Doran's back's been against the wall where he's had to win certain games in order to keep his job. This is by far the biggest one. He has to beat ECU. But also too as well, I'll say it for him, it's not one of his more tougher assignments. So we're not asking you to go and beat Notre Dame. We're just asking you to take care of business, take and beat ECU. Now, it is interesting though, making how when the line officially originally came out for the ECU game, we were favored by 14. Now we're only favored by 12.5. So it's gone down 1.5. So I mean, still double-digit favorites, but interesting movement on the line for sure. Which even me myself, I'm like, that's a lot of points to cover by 14 points. So
yeah, I'm looking at who their quarterback is for ECU. It's a guy named Caton Hauser. Or Kattenhauser. Kattenhauser, he plays. He's a transfer from Michigan State.
Didn't he transfer again though? I thought, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm looking at the 25 roster. He's on there.
Cool.
From Michigan State, 59% pass completion. Threw 6 touchdowns. Was picked off 5 times. So he's just a guy, in my opinion. But he could. I mean, I have no idea if things get better for him. But he looks like, I just did a quick Google search. No idea if this is actually going to be the starter for ECU. But he's the name that came up. So, anyways, there should be, like you said, you have to beat ECU.
You have to beat ECU.
And it's not because I care about ECU in terms of it's just like it's like if I can't lose to Campbell.
Well, and here's my other thing though too though is if like you're 6-5, you go into Carolina and you lose to UNC, even if you're like
we've done that before, so it's not a good look.
No, but it was especially with Bill Belichick's first year at your own house, like
don't
give him that. Don't give him that. Like
is Belichick going to be the coach this year at UNC still? Is that still an option?
I mean, he still has options to get out, he still has options to get out. So we'll see. But anywho, so a couple of more shout outs here, but I mean, also too, I mean, Carson saying Doran has 10 times the resources ECU has. So no, 100%. So,
your offense is that talented. You just need to figure it out on defense.
That's all you gotta do.
And what I'm going to hate is if they play conservatively and honestly,
which is totally Doran's MO.
My thing is, in theory, you should be able to. It's ECU. Like, you should be able to. Like, you on paper are your roster is 9 times out of 10 on paper just going to be better than ECU's. And I mentioned earlier, it's not the fact that we lost to ECU, it's the way we lost to ECU. You go into this, your roster on paper is probably still going to be better than ECU's. I don't know what they have coming in, but my point is, in theory, you probably could play a little bit more conservatively and still beat them. You should be able to do that. Like if you can't, but my thing is, what happens if you do play conservatively and you lose? Like it's going to be a bad look when you're like going into halftime and it's a tie game or a 3-point game where you're losing. Like not going to be, or basically it's a 1-score game. Like, okay, touchdown, a little different because it's touchdown. My point is like you need to wipe the floor with them and you need to make kind of like a statement of like what happened. Yeah, like what happened last time. Yeah, that really that was all on our minds off season and it's fine. But like anyways, I'm just gonna leave that there. So
no. Again, it's just unfortunately that is Doran's MO. 100. Well, that's what he's known for. It's the conservatism. And because there's only really one time I can think of making where he hasn't been conservative, and that was against ECU 2018. You know, in the game where we won 51-3 or something like that. You know, the Hurricane makeup game or whatever at Carter Finley. But other than that, like again, just unfortunately, it's Doran's MO is just try not to lose. You know, instead of making a statement. So,
I will say on the recruiting side, because we're talking about football, they've had a lot of big official visitor weekends that coming up in June. June's a big month. Summertime's big for football and basketball, but really football. A lot of recruiting stuff going on and commitments happening in the summer. And so, sounds like there's things positively going on in the background for this upcoming recruiting class. Won't go into all the details in there because I don't know a whole lot, to be honest with you. But just seeing there's a lot of positive momentum in the background. I even saw, because I think it's public information, I saw Corey Smith on Pack Pride put a prediction that State's going to land Gunner Rivers. Did you see that?
I did see that.
I thought that was really interesting. Like,
dude, that would make all NC State fans just like melt. Like
nostalgia,
total nostalgia, but also too as well. Like
he's a good player. He's a good player, really good player.
He's a great player. Yeah,
really good player.
Really good player, and I just still would be absolutely shocked. Honestly, I'm just like, it's just not normal. You know, I mean, it's not normal for a guy that's looked at like Phillip Rivers for their son to follow their footsteps. I mean, like for example, even though this may hit a thorn for NC State fans, like Thaddeus Moss, Randy Moss's son, like he got an offer from Marshall and immediately told him on the phone, "I'm not interested." I'm like, no.
Josh Downs went to UNC instead of State, right? So
exactly, like I'm not interested in trying to follow that up, but so again, we'll see. But yeah, definitely interesting stuff for sure.
Archie Manning didn't go to Ole Miss, or he didn't go to Tennessee. He went to Texas. Like he went to his own thing, although it's his uncle's. But you get the point. Still, like it's a lot of good recruiting stuff going on for football. I'm really interested to see who they bring in. So, but camps are still going on. Guys are still visiting. It'll roll into July and August, and you'll see commitments coming out. But I think in the next few weeks, you're going to really see a lot of guys popping off for football team commitment. So for 2026 class.
Exactly. So I want to move on to wrestling here a little bit and give shout out specifically to Mr. Raise the Roof himself, Trent Hadley, for getting an opportunity to represent Team USA on the senior world team, represent them in Croatia at, I believe, the 84 kilogram weight class. A guy that was a 4-time AC champion, one of the most dominant NCAA wrestlers of all time, and a guy that for me, I had the number 5 best NCAA wrestler of all time. Sometimes, some would argue, Hayden Hidlay or whoever, there would be a couple of, people that would argue one way or another. I right now can easily say he is for sure at least the number 5 wrestler in NC State history. And you may say, well, Leighton, this is senior world team. This has nothing to do with NC State wrestling. And it's like, well, listen, like his resume, NC State, is incredibly impressive. One of the most impressive resumes that there is. But the only thing that really held him back from cementing himself without a shadow of a doubt as a top 5 wrestler in state history is a national championship. But thing that held him back was Aaron Brooks from Penn State, who, I mean, is going to go down as one of the greatest wrestlers in college wrestling history, and especially Penn State history. And two or three different times, Trent Hidlay faced Aaron Brooks in the NCAA tournament and lost to him. Every single time, never beat Aaron Brooks. But again, this just proves to you how truly good Trent is. The fact that he's literally, of all the wrestlers across the United States of America that are in his weight class, he's the best of them all this year. Like, I mean, I don't know about you, Macon, but I'm sitting here saying, like, if this guy is the best wrestler in his weight class in the entire United States of America right now, in my opinion, you add that to his resume that he already has, being a multiple-time AC champion, one of the best records in NC State history, nearly unblemished. Like, there's no way there's 5 wrestlers in the history of NC State's wrestling program that are better than him. That's where I stand on that. That's the soapbox I wanted to get off of right there. So I want to get on right there.
Well, the AC championship, multiple things, being the best in the world, those are huge things. I think the carrying the national champion banner also it carries more weight too, but he has more accolades and they're more well-rounded, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have the one big one,
sure,
but he has a lot of the other really great ones. So
absolutely. On top of too, I mean, being one of the best. I mean, there's, I mean, we can talk
kind of like a Phillip Rivers. Like, he won all these things, but he never won the Super Bowl. Like, he was a great quarterback, just didn't get that. Like Hidlay, all these great. He won an AC championship. Yeah, Hidlay won AC championships. He's the accolade you're talking about there. He didn't get the national championship. Doesn't make him any less of a wrestler in NC State's lore.
Yeah. No. So I mean, really for me, it just, I just had to give, Trent all the love for sure, because I don't know if you know this, Macon, but even himself has told me, like, no, I don't deserve to be in the top 5. Like, nope, Trent, you are in the top 5. Simple as that. So, but anyway, so a couple others pieces as well I want to give a shout out to. If I can get this up, there we go. In-state women's track and field cross country being ranked number 15 right now in the country. So I wanted to ask you this, Macon. We think about the Mount Rushmore, or top 5 greatest head coaches in NC State history for sure. Obviously, I think with Lori Haynes, in-state women's cross country and track and field coach, I think that if she can find a national championship outside of Caitlin Toohey, she's got to be in that top 5. I mean, because the fact she has 3 national championships back to back to back, that if she can find a national championship outside of Caitlin Toohey, I mean, I don't know about you, but here's where I stand, is that she would go down as one of the greatest head coaches in NC State sports history.
Again, I come back to how many national championships has she won compared to everybody else? Like,
sure. I mean,
you could argue, there's an argument there to be made, is she the greatest? So,
yeah. Well, again, she not only did she win 3, she won them back to back to back.
And we're talking about national titles. We're not talking about AC titles. So it's and there's an argument there to be made. If they could be, a great team like this, especially like Caitlin Toohey, as dominant as she was, and we made the whole point, is Caitlin Toohey the greatest single athlete, male or female, in NC State history.
She's 100% there.
If the coach could figure it out again without her, like,
yes,
she's all time.
Because
she already is. So, but she just kind of cements even more so. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
she kind of lengthens the gap, I guess, if you will.
Exactly, because that is the only negative you could say about her as well. Where would she have been without Caitlin Toohey? Which I mean, but that is the smallest, because you could say that about any coach, except for probably, like the only guy I can really think of that comes to mind is like a Nick Saban. Like, okay, fine, Nick Saban was not defined by one player, but a lot of great coaches, you could say, are defined by one player, for the most part, not saying that's across the board, but, because at the end of the day, it's up to the coach to get them there, it's up to the coach to identify the talents, and it's up to the coach to develop that talent. So, I mean, I'm sure Caitlin Toohey would give mad props to, has and would give all the props in the world to Coach Haynes in her development for sure, into being, just like Megan was saying, one of the most dominant. I think the only person that really even holds a potential to Caitlin Toohey is David Thompson. It's really just which of those two are you really picking there? So
yeah.
But speaking of, though, as well, with my last tweet of the week here, which I wanted to share with you as well. Speaking of Caitlin Toohey, I thought this was pretty interesting here. But I don't know if you've heard this name before, but Patrick Toohey setting the standard for men's track and field and cross country. So obviously you're like,
I have not seen that. Yeah.
Patrick Toohey, interesting there, blazing through the 800 meters in 1 minute and 46.01 seconds. Patrick takes the win at the Portland Track Festival and continues to cement his place as the program's all-time best in this event. So, obviously, yes, there is a relation there for sure. Brother sister, I assume. Just found that very funny, and if Patrick can continue to build on this legacy, being one of the all-time best at the 800 meter for track and field, I mean, are we talking about the Tooheys as being up there with one of the greatest sibling duos in state history, up there with the Holt brothers? I would say so. They're 100% in that conversation. That's all I'm saying. So, but with that being said, all right, Wolfpack Nation, we will wrap it up there. Make any final thoughts here, man, before we sign off?
Nope. I think it's good, man. It's a good show, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, no, glad to have you back, man. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you also if you wouldn't mind, just to make sure you do not miss out any of our live shows as well, and so you can jump into it with us here every single week. Make sure if you listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc., leave us a 5-star review. Greatly appreciate that as well. And make sure to give us a follow at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But with that being said, we'll see y'all soon, and as always, go Pack, y'all.